Welcome to Board Game Boards.
I'm Tristan.
And I'm Tom.
And today we're reviewing Boss Monsters. Boss Monsters is a card game for 2 to 4 players where you build a retro-style video game dungeon and lure heroes in for their pixelated souls.
But you're not the only one with promises of gold for these half-wit heroes. You must compete with up to 3 other players to have the most alluring dungeon.
So get out your fanciest dress and put on that lipstick, because we got a date with what's in the box. First off, let's look at the box itself, which is the look and layout of an old NES package.
Accented with lovely spot varnish, which is a nice touch.
In the box, we find the room, spell, hero, and boss cards, along with slots to hold all of them. There's even a little extra room in there.
Looks like somebody was planning on future expansions. The boss cards have a simple and easy to read layout, with the boss title, an 8-bit portrait, and their power in descending order. Along the bottom of the card, we have their experience score on the left and treasure type on the right.
Next up are the room cards, which have a near identical design, except instead of an experience score, they have a damage amount that's applied to any hero who enters.
Then there's the spell cards. Again, with a similar layout, but with no treasure type, and a symbol dictating when you can use the spell, either during the build or adventure phase. More on those in a bit.
And if you shell out the extra coin for the expansion, there's the item cards. These have 2 descriptions, one for the power a hero gains while the card's equipped, and one for the power a boss gains once they pry the item from the hero's cold, dead hands.
Tristan, I'm beginning to see a pattern within the card design.
Yeah, no shit. The cards all have similar layouts, making it easy for you to quickly determine the types, uses, and compatibility with your strategy.
Why'd you swear at me?
They also take advantage of using different colors and textures for different cards. That way you know what you're looking at without even reading the title.
What about the advanced monster room cards?
What?
You know, these.
Tom, that's just a normal room card that you're holding. That's
my point exactly. The advanced room cards are too similar to the normal room cards. The only difference is the color of the emblem in the top left and adding advanced to the subtitle. With all these subtle design cues, it's surprising that this didn't have a little more ingenuity put in. You'd be surprised at how many times we had someone play an advanced room card without even realizing it. Lastly, we have the manual, which is easy to read and simple to understand. It even includes a reference page on the back for the sequence of play. You know, in case you forget. Overall, a very handy guide.
unlike some other games.
Though it's not all peaches and corn. The small nitpick with the manual is that some rules have been put into an FAQ section rather than more befitting areas.
Because while it makes sense on paper,
not on this paper.
Nice. No? Okay. To put a constantly asked rule into its own thing,
Nice.
people will rarely remember that some are specifically in the FAQ section. Just put them in both.
Yes.
All right. That's what we're working with. How do we play?
Well, the objective of the game is to be the first player to end a turn with 10 souls, which are collected by luring and then brutally murdering heroes in your dungeon.
Metal. Easier heroes are worth 1 soul, while tougher heroes are worth 2 souls. Tom, why do you think that is?
Maybe the hero is pregnant. Life starts at conception, you know.
In order to get started, you need to determine the number of hero cards to use in your game. This is based on the number of people playing.
If it's a 2-person game, remove the 3 and 4-player hero cards from the hero deck. And if it's a 3-player game, remove only the 4-player cards.
The hero cards even have these little graphics at the bottom to let you know which ones are which. Even though we didn't notice this because we're illiterate garbage.
Reading Rainbow.
Next, everyone draws a random boss card, which details your power, treasure, and experience.
The power is unlocked when you've constructed the max amount of rooms in your dungeon, the treasure is how you lure heroes, and the XP determines the turn order.
Looks like I go first!
Bullshit.
Each player starts the game by drawing 5 room cards and 2 spell cards. Then you discard any 2 of the 7.
But word to the wise, save your spell cards because those things are your only offense in this game. And they're hard to get if you don't pick up the right rooms.
But Tom, we have the expansion in which you gain powers for defeating heroes, so it's not that hard.
Bullshit.
All right, Time for the first turn.
Not so fast, impotent trash man! Before the first turn, each player gets to build one room.
I mean, yeah, that's right, and it helps speed the game along, but I think you meant illiterate, Tom.
Did I? Now that we've each built our rooms, we start the first turn.
Begin by revealing the same number of hero cards as there are players. Next, each player draws a room card and builds a new room, or an advanced room on top of the same treasure type.
You can only make 5 spaces max, and there are 4 treasure types. Ankhs, swords and books, burglars, bags of gold.
Sounds like the marshmallows from a terribly deadly
We already
series.
did that joke. So, make sure you have a plan before you start building, because you want to have the most of at least one treasure type in order to attract heroes.
And if you need to alter your strategy, no worries. You can build a normal room over any pre-existing room, effectively replacing it. Once everyone is done building, you compare the treasures in each dungeon, and the Death Labyrinth with the highest treasure value attracts the heroes of that treasure type.
But if there's a tie, then those heroes stay in town making merry until said tie is broken, and more keep showing up to party.
Yay! So you gotta be careful. You may not want that many hungry heroes nipping at your heels.
That was terrible.
Yeah, I know, Jake wrote it.
Next up, the heroes go dungeon spelunking in order of XP. Highest score gets ravaged first.
Each hero journeys through a player's dungeon, taking damage in each room they enter. And once the damage dealt equals or exceeds the hero's health, they die. Like this. Well.
A fallen hero is flipped face down and joins the player's score, adding its soul value to their total. But if the brave warrior makes it to the boss before dying, then it is placed face up, adding its wound value instead. Once all heroes are accounted for, the turn ends.
And if you end your turn with 5 or more wounds, you lose and you're out of the game. You're Bruce Willis from The Sixth Sense. Now, we've talked about our gripes with being thrown out of a game upon death, but honestly, we've never had anybody die before someone got 10 victory souls.
Except that one time, but I mean, who brings a live alligator to a card game?
Once the player ends a turn with 10 souls...
And fewer than 5 wounds, regardless if they're from a hero or an alligator.
that player wins the game.
But everyone gets their chance to hero bash before an entire turn ends, allowing them to steal your win with spells because you're trash that can't get it up for books.
Are you calling me impotent again?
Am I?
So, all in all, it's a fun game with a surprising level of depth, and it's great for killing a half hour. I give it a buy.
Totally. Boss Monsters is almost like a base level introduction to deck building games. It's fun to boot. Bye.
Tom, we did the initial Kickstarter backing on this, right?
Yeah, so?
Well, it says here that it's the alpha edition of the game. Are we allowed to give a review on an alpha build?
Bullshit.
And today we're reviewing nothing.
Goodbye.